Hi friends, welcome back to my channel Testing Mini Bytes. I'm your friend Amudan Shaktivel. In this video, we're gonna see about quick recap about what we have covered in the previous session, and after that we'll continue with the refactoring. Right? I have received a lot of good feedbacks, and sometimes these feedbacks are necessary for me to keep going. Right? So thank you for all your feedbacks, guys. So yeah, let's get started. So in the previous video, we understood about methods in detail. One of the main rule is the method should perform only one thing, right? And that's the purpose of extracting a code into a method. It has to do one thing, one simple task, okay? And this particular method name can be descriptive enough to understand what it does. Okay, someone does not has to go through the code inside the method to understand what it does. So the method name should convey that. Suppose if there is a method called add, instead of add it should be add to numbers, right? Or add to strings or whatever, right? Concat to strings. Okay, so the method name can be a more readable and more understandable, and most importantly it should imply what it does. Okay, just a method called add may be confusing sometimes, but people most probably relate to addition of two numbers, but it's not, it can be also otherwise, right? So it's very important that you name your method very very meaningful, and don't pass a boolean argument to your method. If you are passing a boolean argument to your method, it most probably does two different things: if this, else this. So never do that. Okay, so if you want to pass a boolean as an argument, instead extract this into two different things, okay, two different methods, and have a separate implementation for both of them. Good. So try to have minimal arguments for your method. When you are passing more arguments, there are a lot of chances that you do more than one thing. Okay, but it's not the case always. So but most of the time it can do a lot of things. Okay, so try to have a method with zero arguments, preferably one. It's okay to have two, but don't have three. Okay, if you are passing three, wrap those information into a pojo or a map and then pass it across. All right, and most importantly, try to have the least scope for your method. Okay, try to achieve private, if not protected, if not package protected. At the end, keep it public. Don't give public access modifier for granted. That's not the case should be. Okay, and avoid try catches as much as possible, because exception handling is itself is an art, and it's very difficult to master. Okay, if you're using a try catch, try to have that in the first line of code, because if you have three or four lines before your try catch, those three or four lines can leave your system in a half cooked state. Okay, so pay separate attention to this half cooked state, and make sure you destroy those state before closing your program. Maybe in a catch block or a finally block, you should definitely try to uh, you know uh, uh, you know rectify those half cooked state. Okay, good. Without wasting much time, let's go into the IntelliJ, and let's understand what we need to do. So sometimes if we come back we don't know what to do, so that's why I have this plugin to do for me, that tells me what I need to do. So I was doing the run the test, it's all working, and naming convention is a continuous task, we are working on it, and cleanup base test is what we have to work. And in the base test, I think we have moved the screenshot utils, and then we have created this folder. So yeah, we are all set, and then we need to fix this particular piece of code, right? And if you notice, we have created this method capture screen as png image, but I don't think this is needed, right? So one thing is, it has you know um, poor implementation, because you know uh, if you take a screenshot as an image and attach to HTML, it might work okay in this particular machine. But when I send this HTML report to my clients, I also need to ship the screenshot with the proper relative path, okay, to them. Then only it will work. So this is a complicated thing, right? If you're running a 200 test cases, you have a lot of screenshots, a bunch of screenshots, and most importantly, you have restrictions in mail that you cannot send more than 12 MB. Right, so it's not always feasible task to do all these things. Okay, so it is advisable to remove them, right? And if you also notice, this copy file is using a file utils from Apache Commons. Okay, this file utils is coming from your Apache Commons, and this is a third party library. Again, if I use a third party library, I need to make sure I create an abstract layer and then use it, because some, if they change this implementation to something else tomorrow, I have to come and search where they have sent. Okay, if I have to update to a new version of Apache Commons, it becomes really difficult. Okay, so that's when you have to create an abstraction layer and then do it. And when I speak about half cooked state, if you notice, we are taking the screenshot here. Okay, let's assume, okay, you don't need the screenshot after you copied the file from source to target. Okay, maybe you would have attached this, maybe you can attach, so that you attach this to extend report. Okay, once you do this, you don't need this anyways, but there is an exception here. Okay, so you're not attaching it anymore. So there is a screenshot that's hanging around. Okay, what you can do with this, okay, maybe you can write the code to remove the file, okay, in the finary block. Okay, if there is an exception or not, okay, just write a code to remove this file in your local folder. Okay, but this is an additional work, right? When I can do things in a much simpler way like this, why I have to trouble myself with the code like this? Okay, using third property library, it using a lot of complex logic, try and catch blocks, and a hard coded path like this here, it's absolutely not needed. Okay, so if someone wants to use this, okay, let them create it on their own when they need it. But as far as I know, I'm not going to use it. Okay, my project doesn't going to need it anytime sooner. So I will only keep this and I'll remove this. So we are developing something with the real passion, and then we decide, okay, we don't need this at this point of time. So just because someone might need this, or your project might need this in future, okay, maybe 2 or 3 months down the lane, don't create it now. That's really bad. Okay, if you want it, we will create it later. Okay, that's not a good thing to create functionalities now. Okay, that's not really good thing. So I have only this, and if anyone wants to use this, they can basically call this. Okay, so instead of directly calling the screenshot utils, it's also good approach. Okay, it's also good approach to create a service layer on top of it. Okay, so maybe a screenshot service, so that the coders can always interact with the service layers. Okay, and here, okay, uh, service, uh, if you're watching this tutorial for now, you know what I'm doing. I'm shielding my constructors. I'm making the class final so that no one extend this, and I'll make this very simple method. Okay, static and a string, it should return string, and get screenshot as base 64 string. Okay, even though the method return type is telling it is returning a string, but someone is calling from this class. Okay, let's say I'm calling this from here. So I'm calling screenshot service. Okay, dot get screenshot as base 64 string. Okay, this return type is actually conveying me that it's returning string. So it is okay for you to name this as just get screenshot as base 64, or even if you want to have it as get screenshot as base 64 string, that shouldn't be a big problem. Okay, good. So return, and see guys, I'm just evolving from step by step. Okay, I'm just thinking in my mind whether I can use a name like base 64 string, whether the user can able to understand it's actually returning a string. Okay, this is how your thought process needs to be. Okay, I can directly go on code. Okay, but I am just telling you how I think before I code. Okay, it's okay to think twice or thrice or rewrite the code multiple times before writing it. Okay, because when when others still, okay, you are doing this wrong, okay, it's little, you may not take it easy, but you yourself improving your code is a best way for you to you get more confident. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, so let's, whenever you write a code, think like this. Okay, whether this is correct. Okay, do I have a substantial reason behind why I'm using this? If yes, if you are convinced, then you go ahead and write the code. Okay, good. So yeah, now I want to just call screenshot utils dot capture. Okay, Again, this is not base64 image. This actually needs to be base64 string. Okay, it's not an image. Okay, good. And let's go to the service layer. And there is a problem here. Let's see what is this. Okay, screenshot service dot get base64. Right. Good. Now all the errors are gone. Everything looks fine. Okay. We have unused imports. We can remove them using the shortcuts. And we have service layer. So this basically is telling, okay, change this to void. Why? Because am I not returning that? Okay. This is basically returning, you know, string, right? So let's see why it is telling like this. Okay, let's extract this into a local variable, and this is a screenshot. And why it is not recognizing that? Okay, so I'm using a return, okay, and capture base64 string. Never used. Okay, that's fine, guys. Okay, these kind of, you know, errors are always. I will use it. I'm not using it now, but I will definitely use it. Okay, so good. Now, if you notice, we have in the utils package random service, random utils, screenshot service, screenshot utils. Again, it's okay to keep it like this, but there are also better ways where you can use packages to club them together. So what I'm going to do, you have two chances. Okay, whether you can club all the service layers together as a service package, or you can also have uh, random service and random utils in one package, screenshot service and screenshot orders as one package. What is a good approach? Again, I'm thinking now. Okay, uh, my perspective, people can directly, if I group all these things together, okay, maybe there is chances that I can create a lot of service layers, so maybe 10 to 15 down the lane. But at the time it may get difficult to uh, manage them with the packages. So I always prefer smaller packages containing smaller classes containing very small methods, and that's when it's easy to manage. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to club it otherwise. So I'm going to create a new package or a directory. Let's name it as random. Okay. Inside random, I'm going to put these two. Okay. And inside the utils, okay, I'm going to create another package that is called as screenshots. Okay. And then I'm going to put it, yeah, refactor. Good. So this is fine now, right? So anyone wants to interact, they can come like this. But again, in the random utils, okay, this is again public, so people can go ahead and use it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this. So only the package protected people can access this. Add value of parameter is always fine. Yeah, I know that. So let's go to the screenshot utils and also remove this. Okay, this is package protected, right? I'm using without anything, because if I use protected, I have to have the inheritance relationship. There is no inheritance relationship between my utils and service layer. So I don't have to really use that. Okay, I can use package protected. That's more enough, right? Because my package is only having two things. One is service layer and the util layer. So it should be fine. Okay, this is just my thoughts now. Okay, 1 month down the lane, I think, okay, I can group all the service layers together. Okay, then the situation changes, right? So if I have substantial reason, then I'll change it. But for now, this seems okay to me. I will keep like this. Okay, good. And what else we are doing? So we are actually cleaning up the base test. Okay, let's go and check what our base test has. If you notice, it still has this particular piece of code, chunk of code. I want to avoid this as much as possible, but there is no chance now that I can avoid, because that's the only thing mending. Before method, after method is all set. Okay, so let's go to the class and see what they are doing. Okay, they are having a public constructor, which basically implies anyone, okay, who wants to, you know, anyone who wants to read a value, okay, they can directly call the constructor. Okay, if they directly call the constructor, okay, every time it's interacting with the property file. So if there are 1,000 values that you want to read, you are interacting with the property file 1,000 times. That's something really wrong, because you can just read the property file once, store it in some collection. We have plenty of collections in Java. Store it in some particular collection and use it. That's a good approach, because we don't want to do this every time, right? And to avoid that, what they are actually doing, okay, in the base test, they're calling this only once, and then using this particular variable, they're calling this instance method. Okay, but why do you want to harm yourself like this? Okay, it's like you go and show in the fire your fingers, and then you want that to be not hurted. So that's really wrong, right? So you don't have to really complicate things. Okay, sometimes coding is really simple. Okay, okay, let's go and see. Let's close all these unnecessary files. Okay, and these things are all set, we don't need them anymore. Let's go to the reporting and yeah, reconfig. Good. So what I'm going to do, we have to fix this, but I'm just thinking whether I should create it as a util layer, and then again, this class is doing two things. Okay, one, it is reading from the property file. Two, it is you know sh- giving back all these things. Okay, better you can extract this into a service layer. Okay, and then you can only give access, okay, like this. Okay, maybe you can implement a singleton pattern, so that the first time it actually reads the property files. Okay, and the second time when you're calling it actually returns you the instance that is already existing. Okay, that's one approach. Or you can also have it as a property util, where you can use static blocks to read this. Okay, and then you can store this back into one collection, and whenever someone is asking you, you can return that. Okay, there are two things in my mind, but I'm also thinking about one more thing. If someone wants to extend this, okay, in the future, okay, in the future, if the project gets um, JSON, they want to use JSON instead of a property file. Okay, in those cases, again, they need to rewrite the code, or they need to scrap this particular piece of code, and that's when open closed principle comes into picture. We'll also try to see how we can leverage that. Okay, these are all the three things that is going in my mind, but I don't know how to start with. Okay, but one thing is very clear: I need to use the open close principle. So I need an interface to handle this. Okay, so let's get started. So I have a properties package here. Maybe I'll create it inside that. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a interface. Okay, so we are actually going to use inheritance. Okay, open close principle basically needs an abstraction. um, uh, we're going to use that with the help of an interface. You can also use abstract class. If there is a chance, use interface, because you know that a class can implement multiple interfaces, but it can extend only one particular class, abstract class in Java, right? That is, multiple inheritance is not supported directly, right? So I prefer inheritance using interface rather than an abstract class. So what I'm going to do, I'll have um, config reader. Okay, I'm just basically interface needs to have names in terms of adjectives. Suppose if we know Java interface is runnable, callable, these are all adjectives, right? So but here, if I use property readable, okay, no, there is no such name. I could not think of a name that is actually more reasonable with an adjective, right? Because we are going to have uh, a property reader, right? So how will I name this with an adjective? There is no way. So what I'm going to do, I'm adding I in front, so that it basically implies it's an interface. Okay, some people don't prefer this, because anyways, people can understand it's an interface or class just by looking into it. But I prefer, maybe someone want a good clean code, won't suggest this, because we are adding an unnecessary I. But sometimes more people are using this, so I also started to use like this. Okay, so let's create an interface, and this interface, let's have a method. Okay, let's have a method that basically returns a map of string, because after I read from an property file, it's basically a map of values, right? It's a key value pairs. Okay, so basically I can get values. Okay, I can have an abstract method like this. Okay, I don't have to append an abstract or other access modifier, because it's an interface, so it can automatically take care of all that. Now, why I'm creating an interface? Because I need to define a rule. Okay, suppose today I want to use property file. Okay, then you can have property file reader property file reader. Okay, that's fine. Okay, or property file impl. They use impl to just tell this is an implementation for a property file reading. Okay, property file reader impl. Okay, this is more readable and understandable as well. So let's create an stuff like this and implement the interface now. I config reader. Now I implement the methods, and this method I have the liberty. Okay, for now you have to basically write your code. Okay, you have to write the code to read property file. Okay, maybe you can copy paste the code, but I'll come to that code later. But for now, what I'm going to do, anyway, I want a map. Okay, you want to read the property file and put it into a map, but for now what I'm going to do, I basically create a map myself. Okay, just to check. Okay, new hash map implementation is enough for me. So map.put, let's see what are all the stuff they have. Okay, I think I don't need them anymore. I think base URL, username, password. Okay, let me add just base URL and with some value, right? The value is basically this. And then the password. Username. Okay, this is user email. Okay. Okay. So for now, this is enough. So let's return this map. Okay. Now this is good, right? Actually, you have to write the code to read the property file, convert into map, and then you have to return the map. Okay, but for now, time being, I'm doing this. We'll anyways fix this because I'm not a big fan of using property files, using reading using the file input stream. We have owner library. We will try to leverage that. Okay, but before that, we'll try to see. Okay, now tomorrow someone wants to extend this or use JSON file. Okay, then they will not touch this code. They will not touch this code. Okay, they don't have to come and erase this. They don't have to go and change this anything in the interface. All they have to do is go and create a new class. This time JSON file reader impl. This again gonna implement your iConfig reader. Okay, implement the methods. You provide your own implementation. Again, it's very easy for you to. You can use Jackson library. Okay, Jackson or other libraries to basically convert your JSON to map. Okay, it's very easy, simple task. Okay, at the end of the day, you can return a map. Okay, you can provide this implementation and you can return it. Okay, that's how easy it is. So now we call this as a open closed principle, one of the solid principles for your programming. So what is open closed? Open closed indicates a class or a functionality should be extensible. Okay, it should be closed for any modification. So this particular class or functionality is closed for modification. I'm not doing anything here. Okay, it's closed for modification. Don't do anything in this. It's not it's not available actually, but it's open for extension. If there is a new functionality coming in, okay, I can extend. Okay, it's open for extension. So I can implement this interface, provide the new implementation. Tomorrow YAML file, create a new YAML file reader implement the config reader, provide the implementation, convert it to a map, and then return it. Okay, this is how you can easily use it. Okay, so now uh, we understood how we can do this, but there is a problem with this approach as well. So let's say I want to use this in my code. Let's go to the base test. Okay, I don't want to use all this nonsense. Okay, let's go here and we'll try to see whether this is working. So how will I make this to work? Okay, if I want a property file reader, so what I can do, new property file reader impl. Okay, dot. So now this is going to return you map. Okay, get property. Maybe the method name can be get property values. Okay, and then dot. Okay, now you can pass what you want. I want base URL. Okay, that's what we have, right? That's what we have here. So base URL. Now let's s out this, and then let's see what's happening. Okay, we want to see whether the space URL getting printed. Okay, I'll also tell there is a problem with this. We'll see that, but we have made some changes. We need to see whether this is working before trying something else. Okay, I'm interested more in the sys of statements that I use here. Okay, so if you notice, username is provided, all those things are there, but where is this thing? Okay, maybe is my code reached here? Okay, driver factory get values dot get base URL. Okay, that's fine. It should have printed this. Okay, okay, yeah, it is printed this, but since this is in different color, I couldn't able to actually recognize that. Okay, so now this is working. That's absolutely fine. So what is the problem here, Amudan? Okay, now there is a problem. If user uses base URL, it won't work out. Okay, so I need to write some logic, okay, to convert this into lowercase before reading it and all those nonsense. Otherwise I have to create an enum, and I need to maintain a list of enums for that. This is what I thought is the best approach, but I continuously try to improve the way I code, and I found instead of using a map, what I can do, I can basically use a pojo, right? So the logic is, okay, let's create a pojo here. Okay, and the name of the pojos, always naming is really tough, right? So property property, there are a lot of properties. Okay, maybe framework property properties. Yeah, so let's create a new one like this, create a pojo like this. We want three things, right? One is say, let's say private string base URL. Okay, that's the first thing we want. And the second thing is private string user email. Okay, okay, and the third one is password. Okay, password passing via property file. Okay, very dangerous. Let's fix that later. We have a lot of mess to fix. Let's create a set of files. Let's create getter methods. I have only created getter methods, and if I want to use uh, what I have to do is, here, whenever I read all these things, okay, after I read all the property values, basically I can use something like a builder pattern, or you can use setter methods as well, to basically set this config. So at the end of the day, what I have to do is instead of this, I have to read a lot of property file and other stuff. Maybe I can use a builder pattern. Okay, that's when the things get more easier. But for now, I'll just stick on with whatever I have. So framework properties is new framework properties. I can create a constructor maybe. Okay, that's more easy for now. So what I can do, I'll then insert. So base URL, username, password. Okay, let's go here. Base URL is this, and then we have user email. Okay, and then the password, some password. Okay, at the end of the day, dot where framework properties, mm, what is the name? So framework, so I'll just return this framework properties. So guys, let's arrange them in much meaningful way. Okay, so now the return type is basically not map, so we can basically rely on framework properties. So to change this to framework properties, I also need to go here and change this to framework properties. So instead of map, the problem with map is you need to pass the key. Keys are again case sensitive. A lot of problems. You have to use enums. You have to maintain the set of enums, all those things. So you can basically use like this, and here as well, it should be basically framework properties. Now all set. This is also done. So now instead of this, okay, you can just still get base URL. So now it's more easy, right? Get base URL. I don't really bother about it, right? What is the spelling? What is the enum that I have to use? No. Okay, if you're using a Pojo, this becomes more easy. Let's see. It should work. Let's see whether it is printing that. Okay. So we are constantly evolving, guys. That's more important. Okay. Have substantial reason behind everything you do. Okay, that's the clean code practice, right? You don't have to really read a lot of books. Okay, those books actually indicates, okay, with a lot of experiences, they actually indicating, okay, uh, when you think thoroughly, okay, when you know simple rules, okay, you can basically write clean code. Okay, but they always suggest, okay, clean code is always a continuous improvement process. It cannot happen overday or overnight. Okay, you have to really thought through about it. In sleep you need to think about it. While drive, in most of the things that you do, you have to think about it, how I can improve the way I code. Okay, so if you notice, it's printing again, but this time with not much of chaos. Okay, so we have used inheritance, we have used open close principle, we have used property files, we have used effective thing. But again, reading property file, this is not the real implementation. Okay, we are hard coding here, but I need to write a logic to map this accordingly with the property file. Okay, so with maybe we can use that with the help of owner. But I think we are already have spent a lot of time. We'll continue with this session maybe sometime later. I'll see you guys in another great video. Until then, tata, bye bye. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe and hit on this notification icon. That's very important because hardly I get 200 or 300 views for my videos. So your support is very important. Please share it to the friends as well. Thank you guys. You all have a very good day. Bye.